Hello, I'm Kathy Carolyn. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I just put my makeup on and talk. And today I'm going to tell you a story about 3 heart attacks and a cardiac arrest within a 2-week period when I was 56 years old. So let's get started on makeup and see how good I am at telling a story and putting my makeup on. First, I'll just tell you why I'm putting my makeup on here, and that is that I've just had so much sickness, and I rarely wear makeup. I rarely get out of my recliner, put my clothes on, and I'm just trying to get out of that. I don't like that life. I feel like I'm sitting in my chair, wasting away, and it's hard. It's not easy. I have to push myself, and sometimes I'm really weak when I do that, but it seems to help me to do it. So this is just to make me put my makeup on. I've wanted a YouTube channel for a long time, and I thought, what am I going to do on a YouTube channel? And this is what I've come up with. Put my makeup on and talk about things going on in my life. And, you know, chances are there's people, well, I know there's people out there going through the same kind of thing that I'm going through or been through. So maybe we'll connect. Anyway, that was a little BB cream, and I'm not selling makeup, and I'm not teaching makeup. That's a disclaimer. I'm just putting it on. What am I gonna do next? I'm gonna put some, it's not really a primer, it's really a cream eyeshadow, but I use it as a primer. Okay, so in 2017, within a 2-week period, I had 3 heart attacks and a cardiac arrest. And it was very much out of the blue, all of it. I had not had any symptoms before the actual heart attack started. I had been under a lot of stress. I had moved my parents in with me to take care of them. My mom lived 3 months after I moved them in, and my dad lived 2 years. And it was an honor, but it was a lot of hard work. It was exhausting, and it was very stressful. So 2 weeks after my daddy passed away, I felt like I was doing really well. I struggled for about 6 weeks after he'd gone, but I also felt like that I had grieved him already a lot just from watching him go downhill for 2 years. And so I really thought I was doing well. And 2 months, excuse me, 2 months after he was gone, I just started having chest pains one night, about 10 o'clock one night. And I've had an autoimmune disorder and mitral valve prolapse. I've known that since I was in my 20s. So I didn't really think a lot about it at first, but then they just seemed to get more intense, and they weren't going away. Or they would go away for just a few minutes and then they would come back. So I called the paramedics, and my husband was here with me. He called the paramedics. And they came and found nothing. Everything checked out. My heart rate, my blood pressure, my EKG, everything checked out fine. And they were like, do you want to go to the hospital? And I was like, I don't know. So honestly, this happened 2 times, and one of the times I went in an ambulance, and the other time my husband just took me there, so I don't remember which one's which. But anyway, it just kept happening, and so I thought, I've got to go have it checked out. I think he must have taken me that time. So, when I got there, the way they do an EKG, but I don't know. I don't think that showed anything. I don't remember. Look, this is a long time ago. They did blood work, and they check your blood. They check your troponin level, and if you've had a heart attack, your troponin level's high. And then over the next, I think, 24 hours, it continues to rise. I'm not a nurse. Don't hold me to any of these facts. But so my troponin level was high, and so they checked it again, and it was continuing to climb. So they set me up for a heart cath, and at this time I did not know what was going on. I do now. I'm going to tell you, it's not heart disease. So they did a heart cath, and they said, your arteries are clear, you didn't have a heart attack, and sent me home. Even though my troponin was really high and continuing to climb, that always confused me. I felt a little bit like it had to do with me being a woman, because it seems like, maybe it's changed, I don't know, but it seems like women aren't taken as serious as men when they go in with chest pain. And actually, I have to back up. I had some chest pain over the years with the mitral valve, or I don't know what it was, but I had some. And in my earlier years, like in my 30s, I had been to the emergency room with those and just been told that it was anxiety, and they just want to give me something for anxiety. And in fact, years ago, I had nurses that didn't know that I heard them laughing at me because in my 30s, I had come in with chest pains. And that's hard. That's not professional for sure. But it makes you feel like you're a crazy person, like, oh, well, they seem to think there's no way you could have heart attacks at 30, which is not true anyway. But anyway, they weren't as severe as this time. And I don't even know if they checked my troponin at that time or not. But anyway, so they said, you didn't have a heart attack, and sent me home. So 3 days later, it happened again. This time, I think I might have gone in an ambulance that time. I'm not sure. But when I got to the ER, it was the same doctor that had seen me 3 days before. And he said, now if I understand it right, your troponin can go up for different reasons. I'm not sure what they are, but anyway. Okay, how are my eyebrows? Anyway, he said, well, we'll check your troponin. Oh, he checked it. He said, well, it might just still be coming down from when you were here a few days before. But I'll check it again in a little while. I don't know, they check it every hour or two. And if it goes up, I'll have to keep you. And I hated the way he said that because he sounded really put out that he might have to keep me. So anyway, I'm sure these are not even and right, but my goodness, eyebrows are hard to do for me. So my troponin had gone up and they kept me. And they didn't really do anything different. They just kept me. But before I could go home, I had another one. And this time, my cardiologist, I had seen a cardiologist, and while I was in there, or maybe I'd seen him before. Anyway, I am confused about a lot of this. I should get my husband to, we've talked about it before. He remembers things that I don't. But anyway, it's good enough. I got a shower, and while I was in the shower, you know, with my hands up, I don't know why that seems to make a difference, but it does. But anyway, while I was washing my hair, I started having chest pains again. So I hurried up and got out, got in the bed. I think I dried my hair. I was still having them. And so I called the nurse's desk and I said, I'm having chest pains. And nobody came. I mean, I just waited and waited, and I'm like, okay, these are intense. And I didn't finish what I was doing. I tell you, I'm not real good at talking and doing something. I used to be, but I am not anymore. Okay. So they didn't come, so I rang the bell again, pushed the button, whatever, and I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. And they all came running from everywhere. They were just there. So I guess they just ignore you when you just say you're having chest pains. Anyway, my doctor happened to be on the floor. It was one evening, and he came in there, and I was hooked up to the monitor already. And he looked at the screen and he said, you are having a classic heart attack. And he said, I know we just did a heart cath, but we need to take you back. And I was like, okay, let's go. And they were just shoving nitroglycerin in my mouth, and it was not helping. And so he himself rolled me down to the cath lab, and he didn't do the heart cath, but he took me down there. And so while I was in there, okay, so this is a good time to tell you, I have vasospasms. It's just what it sounds like. It's a spasm of the artery, and it, you know, squeezes like a spasm, but if it clamps down hard enough, it cuts off the blood supply and you have a heart attack. So he came out and told my daughter and my husband that if I had not been at the hospital, I wouldn't have made it to the hospital that night. And he tried just shooting nitroglycerin straight through it, and it wouldn't work. So he had to put stents in just to open those arteries. They were clamped down hard. So anyway, I got stents. Then I went to ICU. And then I don't know how many days later, because it's all a blur to me, but x-ray, they needed to take me to x-ray. And I said, I don't think I can get up. And they said, oh yeah, we'll help you. So the nurse helped me get up, got me in a wheelchair and pushed me down to x-ray on a different floor. And when I got there, they pushed the wheelchair right up in front of the x-ray machine, and they just said, we just need you to stand up and hold on to that bar. And I said, okay, but you better hurry. And I mean, I didn't know what was happening, but I just knew I wasn't okay. I wasn't having chest pains. I guess I just felt really weak. How's that? How's that, I should know. So I stood up and held onto the bar, and it's the last thing I remember. And so I woke up what felt like days later, but they had coded me, and some man that was nearby had come and done chest compressions to bring me back. But I don't remember coming back until days later. But I had a heart monitor on, and they had the portable one with me. But when I fell, all the leads came off, so they couldn't see what happened when I dropped. But anyway, however many, I don't know how much longer, but that man that did the chest compressions, he came to my room, and he was standing over me, and he introduced himself, and he said, you know, he's the one that did that or whatever. And he was looking at me like I should get up and bow down to him or something. I'm not sure that's what he thought, but that's just what I could see. And my mind was still foggy. But the biggest thing is I was in a lot of pain. I am sure I had broken ribs. When somebody does chest compressions on you, it is no joke. It took 6 weeks to be able to not hurt every time I moved. And in the beginning, all I had to do was breathe to hurt. And so, anyway, I just spent 2 weeks in there. They were just trying to adjust medicines. I don't think vasospasms are uncommon, but I think that having an actual heart attack from them are uncommon. And so the doctor was just like calling all over the place, just trying to, calling other doctors who dealt with that and just trying to figure out what to do and what kind of medicine to give me and how much of that medicine to give me. And so, anyway, I survived for whatever reason. I wasn't happy about surviving for a while. It was all very traumatic, and I didn't understand why the Lord didn't just take me. I felt like 3 heart attacks and a cardiac arrest in 2 weeks. Why didn't you just take me on home to heaven? Actually, I felt that way for a long time. Anyway, it has a name. It's called Prinzmetal, but I just call them vasospasms. I forgot to sit on my mascara. I like to sit on my mascara because it warms it and it seems to go on better. Okay, what do I need to do next? Maybe a little bit of concealer. Anyway, I came home with a life vest on. That was terrifying, because if I had another cardiac arrest, it would shock me back in my own home. And I should have been grateful for that, but I wasn't. I was terrified and I hated it. And I went to see my internist at some point. I don't know. I guess it was just a regular checkup. I don't remember. And he said, you need to take that thing off. I had had it on for 2 weeks. And he said, you need to take that thing off. And I said, well, tell my cardiologist that. And he said, it's just reminding you of your mortality every day. Because there was they had no idea why I had a cardiac arrest. And so they were just going to try to prevent it. And like I say, I guess I should have been grateful, but I was not. Because at that time, I was still mad that they hadn't just let me go. Anyway, I went home and took it off. I think I only wore it like a couple of days short of my next appointment, but I only took it off then. And anyway, I was scared to tell my cardiologist that I had taken it off, but he was like, okay. And actually, in hindsight, I don't think he would have put that on me. He had a physician's assistant working for him. And I think this was maybe a new thing they had gotten their hands on. I don't know, a new kind or something. And he seemed very eager for me to wear it. And I think it was his idea. But anyway, I don't wear that anymore. Okay, what do I need to do? I need to do some mascara. I still have vasospasms. I still have chest pains. I'm on a lot of medication, and I'm on a lot of regular medication, and then I have nitroglycerin sublinguals and nitroglycerin patches to use as needed. And it's still frightening. I mean, I've never had any since then that have been as intense as those were, but it's still scary every time, and it never becomes normal to have those chest pains. And I've been doing this for 7.5 years. And so anyway, that's my heart attack story. I don't know if I covered enough, too much, rambled, whatever, but that's where I am with that. I also have an autoimmune disorder, and I don't know what's what. Something that can be caused from an autoimmune disorder, but I don't guess there's any way to prove that. I didn't sit on this mascara long enough. Anyway, if you've ever experienced anything like that, I would love to hear your story. Please tell me in the comments. I don't know anybody else that has, but I know there are people. So, next week, I'm going to plan to talk about something happier and more cheerful than that. I think what I'm going to do is show you my projects that I'm working on. I've got a quilt that I have barely started on, and I've got a couple of knitting projects that I have going. And honestly, I'm not real faithful to work on any of them. I just don't work on them much. I just don't feel like it. Often I don't feel like doing anything. But I will say that I just got new glasses, and they have made a difference in knitting and reading. And so I'm excited about that. I went a long time without new glasses. And I've actually gone a long time without doing a whole lot of things, a whole lot of regular appointments that you ought to keep up, like your female doctor appointments and having your eyes checked and going to the dentist. And, but I have spent so many days in the last 7.5 years going to the cardiologist. I've had times where I go once a week, and it's traumatic to go. I love my cardiologist. She's amazing, and she's helped me a lot, but it's still traumatic to go. And so I just got to the point where I used to be faithful to get my teeth cleaned every 6 months and all the things, But I just got to the point where I'm like, if something else is wrong with me, I don't want to know it, and I can't handle any more appointments. Appointments of any kind have just become hard. But I finally went to the eye doctor. My glasses were seven years old. Yeah. No wonder I couldn't read or knit very good. Anyway, they made a lot of difference to have new glasses. So, and I made it. Yay. I made it to the eye doctor. Okay. So anyway, that was a rabbit I chased there. But next week, I do think that I'll just show what I'm working on, and maybe it will spur me on to get on it. Okay, let's do some lipstick. This is just it doesn't have much color, but it's a little bit of gloss, sort of, or a glossier type lipstick. It's not really a gloss. But I like to line my lips, and what I line my lips with is actually a cream eyeshadow, but it's real dense. And so if I don't have some kind of gloss or something on it, just doesn't glide on good. And also the lipstick is that way too, but I really like them. This is just a brush I got off Amazon, a lip brush to put it on with. Do you feel better when you wear makeup, when you put makeup on? I do. It changes my whole perspective. But even though I know it makes me feel better, I have a really hard time doing it without a reason to put it on. Like I'm not going anywhere, or so that's why I'm using you. I'm putting it on because I'm doing the YouTube, and I don't know if that sounds stupid or not, but it's working. Okay. So, a little bit of color, not a lot. This is the same color that I used as my blush. And I like to sort of smush them together because I like that liner, but I don't like you to actually see the line, if that makes any sense. All right, I don't think I need any more blush. I think I'm good. Take my hair down and see how it is. As good as it's gonna get. I'm due a haircut. Getting one next week. I did not make that flip. It has a mind of its own. This side likes to lay down. This side does not. So I'll just go with it. Thank you for being here. I'm excited for this journey. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to get back on here today. After my first one, I was like, oh my gosh, I rambled. My head was too low on the screen. Like it just felt very off, and it was hard to get back on here today, but I'm glad I did, and I feel better. I feel better with my makeup on, and I hope that something I say on my videos just encourages you. I don't know that story was encouraging today, but maybe putting my makeup on was encouraging. Maybe it'll encourage you to do yours. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye.